That's better, I can see what I'm doing again. It's a very small screw. Take that off. And lift that gear off there now. At the front of the shutter, there are four screws holding the case. Now one of them's shorter than the others. It's one of these two corners down here, I think, from memory. Might be that one. Yeah, it is. The other three are all the same length from memory. This should come out. There's one of the shafts that came through from the back of the camera that had the lever on the end. It's the aperture settings cam. Just making sure that this is all present and correct. This is the other shaft that had the gear on it. It all looks good. I'll just check those two screws haven't worked loose. There wasn't much turning required on those. And here we have the shutter. Now, apart from this bloody obstruction here, which is our lens release button, this is otherwise fairly straightforward looking. This mechanism here opens the blades to the viewing, fully open to the viewing position. This lever would hold that in that position. Right, let's start clearing some of this away. I've got to dig into it. So, front, that piece off there is our shutter speed setting cam, and that is a bit, seems to be stuck there. That's fairly straightforward, not much different to other Prontor type shutters. Right. So if we cock the shutter, let's see how it behaves. This should give us something like 1 second. Yeah, it's not even running down, so it certainly needed to be serviced. See that retard gear train's not even running down. So the retard gear train, let's cock the shutter and remove the retard gear train. Two screws hold this in position. Although it might be worth getting rid of the self-timer first in this case, I think. The screw at this end of the self-timer holds this little lever in place. This is a funny looking thing. That provides our detents for our shutter speeds. Let's run down. Take this screw off this arm. This arm cocks the self-timer, and in a shutter like this it cocks the self-timer every time the shutter is armed, but that action doesn't stay cocked unless the setting's been set to the self-timer. Run that self-timer down, I think, might be the answer. Well, it's very reluctant to move too. Okay, we'll just unhook its spring. Take that lever off there. It's obstructing me. Now under that screw is the spring, the lever, and there's also a standoff that thing sits on. A cylindrical standoff. Now can I get that screw off? That spring rather. Yeah. Now the other screw that holds our self-timer in is visible just down here. Let's see if I can get to it. That's the self-timer out of the way. The retard gear train is held in with two screws. There's a tall screw at this position. And a screw down here. And we can swing that out, and that's done. It's starting to look very much like a conventional Prontor type shutter now, but now that most of the complications are out of the way. I'm just deciding which point I want to get this shutter out of the case. I'll get this flash contact stuff out of the way first. Now, if I set that there, release the shutter. Why did that not drop in on the B lever? Let's do that again. I want that held open on B. That's better. That allows me to get to this position here and remove this spring, which you can't see because it's probably hidden behind that bloody post here. That spring's out the way. Single screw here on the top of this post. This holds the lever in that operates the flash contact. We have the screw, the lever, and a small barrel shaped standoff. Under that we have our flash contact. And this piece should wriggle out now because there's virtually nothing holding that in place. Let's try opening the shutter on B again and just see if that I can get to this. It just seems to be a bit sticky. This little lever revolves round on a small post or rivet. If it doesn't want to come out, we'll let it stay there. I'm just going to remove this spring. This spring is a detent which holds the shutter blades in firmly into the closed position. I'll remove the spring from this lever, I think, if I can do so. That allows me to feel the action of those shutter blades too. They're not as smooth as they should be, but they're not terrible. I'm going to try splitting that shutter now. So, we're still in frame and probably almost in focus. Right, there's 3 screws on the back of the case. Two give up without a fight, and one is more reluctant. That's it, that's loose. I had a touch of lacquer on there to hold that screw in position. See if I can drop the shutter out of the case now. Or the back of it out, I mean. Right, so this little piece here has our blades in it. We'll just pop that to one side. Here is the mechanism plate. That'll probably lift out for us too if I hold my mouth the right way. If I move that lever around there, will it tip out? Yeah, it will. Okay. So here we've got the outer shutter case. There's nothing exciting left in this really. That just needs to be cleaned. Here we have the piece that you call the mechanism plate, typically on the shutter. This is the settings lever for the XM, sync, etc. This little lever was the one that opened and closed the shutter blades for the viewing position. The mechanism plate here, there's that flash contact lever there that I was so keen to get out of place. That can go to one side for cleaning. And here I want to separate the blade actuating ring here. This is the ring that moves backwards and forwards and swings the blades open and closed as it does so. In this case I can see it's held in with 3 screws. I can see some small patches of corrosion on this part. I don't know whether they're significant enough to cause a problem. I'll certainly clean them away. Take this off. Is that in the cock position? As it is, that can drop away. Okay, so there's our blade actuating ring. And you can probably see it's got a bit of grease and stuff on it there. Very dirty marks over here. That may just clean away, may just be old grease and a bit of dust. And where it runs in the plate there, that's a bit dirty, bit of dust in there. All of that needs to be cleaned, otherwise the blade actuating ring won't swing freely. If it doesn't swing freely, well, what you get then is the shutter won't open and close smoothly, or at all. So the back plates here, this is where our shutter blades are trapped between these 2 plates. Now these parts are shaped, it's not hard to see where they match up. They've got interesting cutouts that you can easily match up with the body, so I won't bother chasing that. Here are our blades. Now there should be 6 blades. I'm looking to see what I'm seeing here, because one of these blades is more rounded than the other. That's it there. That's the 6th blade, or the cover blade, and you'll see that the other 5 blades are all identical. You see that this cover blade here has got a rounded off end on it. So that's blade number 6 when we're putting the shutter back together. The others are all identical. I'm looking at the state of them. They're a bit marked. They'll probably benefit from polishing with Brasso. And this plate, of course, all needs to be cleaned, because any dirt or grease on that plate will affect the way that those shutter blades move. They won't be able to move freely. Okay, that all looks interesting, and it's all in pieces. So all of these pieces now I'll have to clean up. I'll start cleaning some of these components up. I'm just using some naphtha on a cotton bud. First I'm going to start here with the blade actuating ring. And looking at the colour of this, you can see that there was a fair degree of probably graphite grease on there. What tends to happen when you use grease is that over time the volatiles will leave and the base of the grease, the thickener, if you like, of the grease is left behind. And so that they become stickier instead of acting like a slippery lubricant that allows parts to move freely over each other. They instead act like a molasses, and they goo the pieces together so nothing wants to move quickly at all. Everything only vaguely lurches in the right direction very slowly. Just looking at those marks there that I said that were corrosion on that plate. Just rub at those with the tip of my screwdriver. Make sure there's no raised bumps. Yeah, I don't think that'll cause me a problem. Inside and outside edges, it's always worth making sure you clean those well, in case there's one of the things that allows you to do is it allows you to detect any roughness. When you're cleaning them, you'll feel roughness on the cotton bud as you're cleaning them. And that will alert you to the fact that there's a problem there that might need to be dealt with. Otherwise you may not be able to see a rough surface. You can see the dirt coming off here. This will be a mixture. It'll be oil and grease and dust and corrosion products probably. But you'll know when you've completed the job, because the cotton bud will stop getting dirty. There'll be nothing left on there to dirty it. And again, you can tell what the surface is like. You can judge that by the feel of the cotton bud moving over the surface. And this is the back face or the outside face of the shutter here. This is less important that this be sparkly clean, because it's not presenting to the blades. It's good practice to clean all the parts on both surfaces. Right, well, I'm pleased enough with that. Still getting dirty marks off here, but I'm pretty confident that surface is probably as clean as I'm going to get that. This plate, that was the cover plate that held everything in place. If we weren't vitally concerned with light transmission through the shutter, through the lenses, probably an ideal lubricant for everything in the shutter would be graphite powder or a molybdenum powder, something dry, something that wouldn't create stickiness. But you can't do that because anything that's dusty or powdery will inevitably find its way onto the inside surfaces of your lenses. Sometimes you might see that as tiny sparkles on the innermost surfaces, and you'd certainly see it if somebody had been very free with graphite powder and failed to blow away any loose powder after lubricating some component in the shutter.